swordmaster named De Grassi wrote a book in Italy using the rapier, a much faster, bendier weapon. It wasn't necessarily superior, although it was pretty fast. Go away with that. And, no wait, come back. Now one of the reasons they liked the faster weapons was because they stopped wearing armor. Now the reason they stopped wearing armor had nothing to do with this sword, it had to do with the gun. By the 1500s the guns were good enough and the armor was not sufficiently bulletproof that, at least in day-to-day walking through cities and stuff, people stopped wearing armor. Still wore it on the battlefield, but if you aren't wearing armor, you want the fastest weapon possible. So weapons started getting much thinner, smaller, and faster, which continued up to modern fencing weapons. So now Jose and I will demonstrate some sword fighting from 1570 in Italy.
Yes, yes. Me. I know. That's why I went, ooh, me.
Okay then. Now De Grassi wrote 2 books. The first was called The True Art, which was what to do in a fight for your life, which is stab the other guy till he's dead. But he also wrote a book called The False Art, which is what to do if you're showing off for a crowd. Since you're all here, let's show you some of that. So as De Grassi says, if you're fast enough to take the other person's weapon away, you're fast enough to kill them. And if you're fighting for your life, don't mess around, just kill them. Silver. Now, these weapons were very popular in England. They imported Italian sword masters to teach them how to use it. And there's one English sword master named George Silver who hated these weapons because they were so bendy. He said, when you block with it, you don't know when it's going to stop, and it might stop inside you, which is bad. So he preferred this sword, the English back sword or mortuary sword, which is much stiffer than a rapier. It still bends, but not as much. So my wife and Devin will show you some of Silver's back sword techniques.
Now, something to remember before we get to the last part of this is the rapier and this sword actually would have met in duels. So we'll cover some of that. But right now, Devin, would you take our den? This is a pose you don't usually see in most sword movies. It's a nice wall of steel. All he has to do is move it around, back and forth, and he's pretty much protected everywhere. We're going to do the first part without 2 weapons. I'm going to show you how that changes everything. What did we do there? I simply made sure I got on the inside line of his sword. He passed me, and I was able to get right in and grapple. But, grab this, changes everything up. The perfect cross of defense. Not so good for me. He faked me out on one side, and went right in on the other. Now, suppose I have this weapon, and he has the back sword. I don't know, I think we're pretty evenly matched. Let's take a look. Do we need to reverse again?
Yeah, we should probably reverse this.
What did he do? Stepped in, managed to hold me in place with this. I used to slide along his blade right into my chest. He has full control of the weapons. Nice job, Devin. That's where we're going to leave Silver, and here we're going to go into Dusak!
Oh, I didn't play again.
Since you're out here. The Dusak was a curved one-handed weapon very popular in Germany in the 1500s. We're not entirely sure about its nature because very few of them seem to have survived to modern times. It was curved, it was one-handed, and we think maybe they were made of leather or wood because there aren't very many left. But we are going to use 1800s cavalry sabers. This is completely the wrong sword for the style, but it is the right length and the right amount of curvature, so the style will be right, but the sword will not. So this is some Dusak fighting from 1570 in Germany. And keep in mind that we said the fights were very short, this is actually 5 different fights stitched together. Every time you see us move a little bit apart, that should have been a different fight. But we put it all together, so hopefully it's a little bit more enjoyable. Okay then. We forgot body. We forgot body. Alright, let's do some body. Body was an Italian swordmaster in the 1400s that I mistakenly skipped over when we were doing the 1400s. One of the reasons he is important. We're skipping right to this, huh?
No, I have the sticks. Sword.
The sword and the sticks. What a good combination.
Is he had mismatched weapons. Most of these books have people, both people have long swords, both people have daggers, both people have other things. But he has mismatched things. One of the things was what happens if your opponent has a sword and you only have 2 sticks. He says you displace the sword with the sticks and then pound them with the second one. Sure, why not? He also had, I'll need one of those sticks later because we forgot the short spears today. You want to move, Devin?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna want
He also said, what do you do if your opponent has a spear?
It does.
No, I'm saying you want me to go to that side.
Oh, yes, yes.
All right. If your opponent has a spear and he throws it at you, you knock it out of the air and then charge at them. All right. The next page of the book says, what do you do if your opponent has 2 spears and only throws 1? It says you should know what to do. Not really the most useful instruction. I think what it is, because this is its style, you displace and hit, or you displace and hit, depending on who the winner is. But there's been that mystery for the last 500 years. How are we doing on time? I don't want to run into anyone else's time slot. We got 10 more minutes. Okay. Oh yes,